Dragon King Rhaelor Caradane dismissed Adelaide Morrowen, with parade drums already shaking dust from the rafters of the Crown Spire Horn Clinic. He did it in front of 12 dragon captains, 3 royal scribes, and the battle master, who had spent a month calling her caution a disease. Adelaide stood beside a bronze examination cradle, her grey-streaked hair pinned low, her sleeves rolled past the old sound burns on her wrists. Around her, the clinic smelled of warmed resin, dragon breath, bitter root oil, and the mineral dust that came from sanding living horn too close to the nerve line. Behind the open arches, the kingdom's war beasts waited on the parade terraces, their scales polished, their wings chained in ceremonial rows, their horns hidden beneath gold battle caps shaped like flame. Gold hid many things well. Pain was one of them. A repaired horn never forgot the hand that tuned it. Old horn channels kept warning patterns the way bone kept scars. When pressure rose too close to a fracture, the repair line answered with the last pattern its physician had named. Gold battle caps were made to make dragons look whole from a distance. They did not heal fracture lines. They pressed beauty over warning, sealed resonance beneath metal, and forced injured horns to carry command sound without room to breathe. Battle Master Dervin Corrick placed a polished horn chart on Rhaelor's table. Your Majesty, Mistress Morrowen has delayed 7 war flights in 14 days. She keeps marking ceremonial dragons unfit for air over hairline fractures no soldier can see. Adelaide did not look at Dervin. She looked at Rhaelor. That was her first mistake. There had been a time when he trusted her eyes more than a war table. Years ago, before the crown had settled so heavily on his brow, he had brought his first dragon to this clinic, trembling from a hidden horn split. Rhaelor had stood beside the cradle, young and furious and afraid, while Adelaide steadied the beast with both hands and whispered balance patterns until the dragon stopped trying to tear its own wings apart. Later, Rhaelor had said, "You hear what they cannot tell us." Tonight, he did not say that. Tonight, he looked at Dervin's chart. "The parade launches at moonrise," Rhaelor said. Adelaide felt the sentence before it finished. "My king," she said, keeping her voice even because men like Dervin mistook urgency for weakness when it came from a woman. "A dragon horn is not decoration. It carries balance, distance, flock call, aerial warning, and pain memory. If you cap a fractured horn for spectacle, you do not make the injury disappear. You make the dragon fly blind on one side." Dervin sighed as if she had embarrassed herself. "This is exactly the exaggeration I reported. Caution spreads quickly in a war yard, Majesty. Let one physician call fear diagnosis, and soon every beast becomes too precious to fly," a captain muttered. The beasts looked steady in yard formation. "Yard formation does not test crosswind," Adelaide said. Dervin smiled. "And crosswind will not wait for Mistress Morrowen to finish polishing every royal fear." A few men laughed. Not loudly. They were too trained for that. But Adelaide heard it. She heard less than she once had. But she still heard enough. The right side of the room always came to her dulled now, as if the world there were wrapped in thick wool. Rhaelor knew why. Or he should have. His first dragon's uncontrolled distress call had shattered half her hearing when she stepped between the sound and him. The court record had called it clinic exposure. Clinic exposure. Such clean words for a woman taking sound, meant for a king. Rhaelor's gaze flicked once to the faint scar beneath her ear. Then away. Dervin leaned over the table. The kingdom cannot watch its largest military parade grounded because one horn mender distrusts trained battle command. "Horn physician," Adelaide said. Devon blinked. "Pardon? You may remove me from the flight line. Do not reduce the craft while using the creatures it keeps alive." Silence cut through the clinic. Rhaelor's jaw tightened. "Good. Let it find bone." Dervin recovered first. "Your Majesty, no one questions her years of service. But service becomes obstruction when it places private judgment above royal readiness. Private Judgment. Adelaide looked at the terraces where dragons shifted beneath gold-capped horns. Some were restless. Some kept their heads too still. One old ash-blue female, Mereth, rubbed her battle cap against stone in slow, painful arcs. Adelaide knew that motion. Horn pressure. Deep fracture. Hidden. She stepped toward the arch. Remove Mereth's cap. Dervan moved in front of her. No. Gold caps are ceremonial protection. They stabilize command, sound, and present strength before the kingdom. They seal pressure inside a damaged horn. They preserve formation image. They can break balance before second turn. Rhaelor's voice came cold. Adelaide. Her name in his mouth still hurt. That angered her most. She turned. If you fly her with that cap on, she will lose left balance on the second turn. Dervan laughed once. You cannot know that from across a room. I repaired the lower horn channel after the winter siege. I know how she holds pain. Rhaelor's eyes sharpened at the detail. For a heartbeat, the old memory lived between them. His hand on Mereth's neck. Adelaide's fingers guiding resonance back into broken horn, both of them breathing when the dragon finally stopped screaming. Then drums rolled from the parade yard. Dervan bowed. Majesty, command must decide whether the kingdom sees strength or delay. Rhaelor looked at the waiting dragons, at his captains, at the gold caps shining beneath moonfire. Then at Adelaide. Then her caution will no longer decide whether my dragons rise. The sentence struck cleaner than dismissal because it named what he had chosen to believe. I am relieving you from parade clearance, he said. The clinic went very still. Adelaide did not bow, not because she forgot respect, because something inside her refused to bend beneath a mistake dressed as command. Then, record that I objected, she said. Dervan smiled. Already noted. No, Adelaide said. Record the warning pattern. 3 low pulses, 1 broken rise, then silence on the left. Mereth will echo it if the fracture reaches capped flight pressure. Rhaelor's eyes darkened. Enough. The word struck harder than dismissal. Enough careful work. Enough older woman's worry. Enough invisible care delaying beautiful war. Adelaide removed the silver clinic ring from her finger and laid it on the examination table. Then, may the horns remember what command refuses to hear. Dervan's smile thinned. Poetic. Rhaelor did not smile. Adelaide walked toward the clinic doors as the first ceremonial call sounded from the parade terrace. 100 dragons raised their capped heads. The sound should have been one clean war chord. Instead, Mereth's horn answered first. 3 low pulses, 1 broken rise, then silence on the left. Adelaide stopped beneath the arch. Across the terrace, another repaired horn repeated the pattern. Then another. Then every warbeast she had ever treated began echoing the warning Rhaelor had just dismissed. Horn memory response. Repaired channels echoed fracture warning under capped pressure. Dervan did not deny Mereth's horn, had answered exactly as Adelaide predicted. He denied that a warning pattern meant fracture. The parade terrace shook beneath 100 dragons trying to hold formation, while their horns repeated the same broken music. 3 low pulses, 1 broken rise, silence on the left. Again and again, the sound moved through the crowned air like a war chord, forgetting how to be beautiful. Captains shouted for calm. Chain crews gripped wing lines. Drummers lowered their sticks one by one until only the horns remained, silver and wounded beneath gold. Rhaelor stood at the center of the crown spire archway, his face carved still. Adelaide had already been dismissed. That was the cruel shape of it. The warning needed her after command had made her absence official. Dervan raised his voice over the broken echoes. Echo is not injury, Majesty. Parade drums can trigger old repair channels. Mistress Morrowen trained these beasts for years. Of course their horns know her patterns. Adelaide stood beside the clinic door. Silver ring, still lying on the examination table behind her. A horn can remember training. It cannot invent left-side silence in the exact language of capped pressure. Dervan turned toward the captains. Hear that? She calls formation danger because sound answers her own method. This is why caution spreads. Soldiers hear fear dressed as craft and begin doubting command. Rhaelor looked at Adelaide then, not softly. Not yet. Why did Marath answer in the exact pattern you named? Because the pressure reached the repair line, Adelaide said. Ask whether the cap was fitted before resonance testing. Dervan laughed once. Gold caps stabilize command sound for ceremonial formation. They also seal resonance beneath metal. For a short parade pass, crosswind testing is unnecessary. Adelaide's eyes cut to him. Only if you do not care what happens on the second turn. The old ash-blue dragon on the terrace dragged her capped horn against stone. The scrape was low and awful. Not pain loud enough for court pity. Pain disciplined into obedience. Rhaelor heard it. Adelaide saw him hear it. That was not enough. Seal the terrace, he said. No dragon launches until the horn echoes are identified. Dervan stiffened. Majesty, the kingdom is assembled. The kingdom can watch me ask questions. It cost him something. Not enough to repair what he had done. Enough to make Dervan's mouth tighten. Rhaelor turned to the nearest scribe. Record. Ceremonial launch paused for horn. Memory inquiry. Adelaide did not thank him. A pause was not protection. A question was not trust. Dervan stepped between her and the terrace again, careful as a man placing himself where witnesses could admire his restraint. Mistress Morrowen has no parade clearance authority. No, Adelaide said. You made sure of that before the horns spoke. The line struck the clinic wall and stayed there. Rhaelor's jaw hardened. She will answer technical questions. Technical questions only, Dervan said. Adelaide looked at Rhaelor. Do you hear that? He will borrow my craft while keeping my judgment outside the room. A silence opened. Rhaelor did not cross it. Not yet. He faced the battle cruise. Which dragons in the first flight had old repair channels? A junior horn clerk, pale beneath his ink-stained hair, stepped forward. Marath, Vosrin, Calor, Dravek, and the 2 Eastern Bronze males. Adelaide closed her eyes once. 6 in first flight. Too many. Rhaelor looked to Dervan. Were all 6 fitted with gold caps? Dervan answered smoothly. All ceremonial beasts were capped. Standard parade presentation. Were the caps pressure fitted? Majesty. All caps must be fitted tight enough to hold command sound. Adelaide opened her eyes. Tight enough is not the same as safe enough. Dervan's smile thinned. Old repair channels overreact. That does not mean the caps cause distress. Ask why silence fell only on the left, Adelaide said. Rhaelor turned to the clerk. Which side were the caps tightened from? The young man looked at Dervan before answering. Adelaide saw it. So did Rhaelor. Answer the king, Dervan said too quickly. Left anchor first, the clerk whispered. Battlemaster's order. Faster for terrace alignment. Rhaelor's gaze went colder. Were fracture resonance tests performed after fitting? Dervan lifted a hand. Majesty. Resonance testing before every ceremonial launch would delay the entire war signal. That was not my question. The clerk swallowed. I have no completed resonance slips for the capped horns. Adelaide felt the old wound beneath her ear pulse, as if the missing half of the room had turned toward her all at once. Rhaelor looked at her. Can old repair channels echo without present danger? Yes, she said. Under drum stress, under grief call, under mating fever, under storm pressure. But not 6 repaired horns, same pattern, same left silence, after left anchor cap pressure. Dervan's voice sharpened. You trained them to answer you. No, Adelaide said. I trained them to warn before falling. The terrace quieted. Even the dragons seemed to hear the difference. Rhaelor stepped toward Marath, but Adelaide spoke before he reached the beast. Do not touch the cap. He stopped. Good. Let command learn to halt before it harmed. Why? he asked. If the fracture is loaded beneath it, removing the cap without counter, resonance could split the lower channel. Dervan spread his arms. Convenient. The cap cannot be trusted on, cannot be removed, and only the dismissed physician can interpret the danger. Adelaide met the room without flinching. Ask whether a horn can lie in the exact language of its repair. Rhaelor looked to the high horn scribe. Bring the horn. Cap pressure reports. Dervan's face did not change. That made Adelaide more afraid, not less. The reports arrived in a bronze folder sealed with battle wax. Rhaelor broke it himself and handed the first page to the scribe. The scribe read, voice thinning with every word. First flight, ceremonial fitting. Gold caps applied to repaired horns before fracture resonance test. Rhaelor bin still. Adelaide did not move. Dervan only said, sequence does not prove harm. The scribe lowered the page. Horn cap pressure report. Gold caps fitted before fracture resonance test. Dervan did not deny the gold caps had been fitted before fracture resonance testing. He denied that omitted testing made the parade unsafe. The bronze folder lay open in Rhaelor's hands, while the war terrace held its breath around him. Beyond the arches, the dragons had stopped repeating Adelaide's warning pattern, but the silence that followed was not clean. It was a strained silence, held under gold caps, chain lines, and the trained obedience of creatures too proud to scream twice. Dervan bowed his head with controlled patience. Ceremonial pass does not require battle wind testing, Majesty. Terrace formation already proved stability. The second turn is shallow, controlled, and performed under command sound. Adelaide stood near the clinic door, still without her silver ring. Yard formation can prove a dragon stands beautifully. It cannot prove she turns safely, a captain muttered. The parade route avoids true battle wind. Adelaide looked at him. Wind does not ask permission to enter a turn. Rhaelor did not smile. Good. This was not the hour for charm, memory, or the old softness that had once lived in the clinic between them. He had reduced her work to caution before witnesses. Now witnesses watched him discover that caution had a structure. He turned to the high horn scribe. Was Merith Crosswind tested after cap fitting? The scribe looked down at the folder. No completed test slip is attached. Dervan stepped in smoothly. Because no crosswind test was required for a short ceremonial launch. Who marked the second turn safe? Rhaelor asked. A younger battle clerk swallowed. Flight path clearance bears terrace command approval. Whose? The clerk looked at Dervan. Dervan's voice stayed calm. Mine, Majesty. As battlemaster, I clear parade formation. That is not concealment. That is command. Adelaide heard the word command settle over the clinic like armor. Men hid so much behind it. Ask whether repaired horns were tested under left side pressure, she said. Dervan turned toward her. Mistress Morrowen continues to instruct the throne, while no longer holding parade clearance. Adelaide met him without blinking. No. I am instructing the room how not to kill a dragon politely. The words struck harder than anger. Rhaelor's fingers tightened on the folder. Were repaired horns tested under left side pressure? The high horn scribe searched the packet. No left pressure resonance sheets. Dervan exhaled through his nose. Because left pressure testing belongs to combat readiness, not public display. Public display still uses wings, Adelaide said. It still uses balance. It still asks a horn to carry command sound through moving air. Rhaelor looked at her then, and something old passed through his eyes. The memory of Merath younger, shaking in a cradle, Adelaide's hands steady beneath the lower horn channel, while he stood helpless and furious beside the beast he loved. Adelaide let him remember. She would not let him make remembrance into repair. Did Adelaide's warning pattern appear before parade command? Rhaelor asked. A pause. Too long. The sound clerk at the edge of the terrace lifted a narrow slate. There was a partial left silence during drum rehearsal. Dervan's eyes sharpened. Partial, not full warning. When? Rhaelor asked, before final cap polish. Adelaide felt the clinic tilt slightly. Not surprise. Confirmation. She had heard Marath's left side dim days ago, and marked it before Dervan called her delays theatrical. Read the slate, she said. The sound clerk hesitated. Rhaelor's voice came low. Read it. The clerk swallowed. Rehearsal pulse. 2 low drag tones, weak rise. Left side response reduced under cap contact. Recommendation pending physician review. Dervan spread his hands. Pending. Not confirmed. Old repair channels create false alarms under drum vibration. Adelaide looked at the gold caps gleaming on the terrace. Ask who wanted the dragons beautiful before they were balanced. A few captains shifted. Dervan's face cooled. The kingdom needed to see strength. Delay weakens morale. Soldiers who see grounded dragons start imagining defeat before battle begins. And dragons who fall during a parade? Adelaide asked. What do soldiers imagine then? The question went through the terrace like a cut rope. No one answered. Rhaelor turned another page. Was the route changed to avoid testing? Dervan's reply came too fast. The route was shortened for ceremony. Not my question. The flight clerk's voice thinned. The full ridge arc was removed. Adelaide closed her eyes once. The ridge arc was where crosswind told the truth. Without it, a damaged horn could look steady until the second turn, where left pull and command sound met under pressure. Rhaelor looked at her. Explain. She hated that the room needed her now, after using her silence as clearance. The ridge arc listens before the parade does, she said. It pulls air across both horns. If the left side goes silent there, the second turn fails later. Without the arc, you tested command image, not balance. The phrase landed. Command image. Dervan's mouth tightened. She is using technical delay to override military judgment. No, Adelaide said. I am naming the difference between a dragon obeying while standing still and a dragon surviving while turning. Rhaelor looked at the first flight dragons, gold-capped and restless under moonfire, then back to the folder, who cleared the first flight without resonance slips. Dervan inclined his head. I cleared readiness under battle command. Did Adelaide's objection enter the parade record? The scribe looked through the pages. Adelaide already knew. The answer was in the way Dervan stood too still. No formal objection entered, the scribe whispered. Only notation. Physician caution delaying public war signal. Adelaide laughed once, quiet and cold. There. My warning was made smaller before the horns had to make it loud. Rhaelor looked at her. Pain moved across his face. She did not accept it. Not yet. Bring the parade clearance record, he said. Dervan did not object. That frightened Adelaide more than objection would have. The record arrived sealed in red command wax. Rhaelor broke it and handed it to the high-horned scribe. The scribe read the final line first, voice thin beneath the terrace drums that had begun again somewhere below. Parade clearance record. He swallowed. Crosswind resonance test omitted for capped horns. Dervan did not deny the crosswind resonance test had been omitted. He denied that the second turn required left balance proof. The red command record lay open on the bronze table, its final line still fresh in the air. Crosswind resonance test omitted for capped horns. Around the terrace, dragons stood beneath gold and moonfire, their wings held by chain crews, their heads too still after the broken warning had passed through them. Dervan placed one hand over his battle sash. Second. Turn. Clearance is command geometry, Majesty, not physician speculation. The route was shortened to reduce strain, not hide danger. Adelaide stood near the clinic arch, her dismissed ring still behind her on the examination table. Ask whether the turn was safe, or only shorter. A captain muttered. A shorter turn is safer. A shorter turn can be sharper, Adelaide said, especially when the left horn cannot answer. Rhaelor looked from the terrace path to Merith's capped head. The old ash-blue dragon had stopped scraping stone. but her left eye remained half-lidded, as if she were listening to pressure inside her own skull. "Who approved the second turn?" Rhaelor asked. Dervan bowed. "I did, as battlemaster. Was left. Balance, resonance present before approval." The High Horn scribe searched the flight packet. "No left balance proof is attached," Dervan answered before the silence could deepen. "Because command sound controls turn angle. A ceremonial pass does not require every combat measure." Adelaide's gaze did not leave the gold cap on Mereth's horn. "Command sound can tell a dragon where to turn. It cannot give her balance once the horn goes silent." Rhaelor's jaw tightened. Not belief. Not yet. But the kind of listening that hurt him because it came late. Dervan turned toward the captains. "This is exactly the escalation I warned against. A technical adjustment becomes catastrophe in a fearful room. The second turn was shallow, controlled, and visible to the kingdom. Parade image matters before war morale. Were capped horns cleared by sound or by formation image?" Adelaide asked. Dervan's eyes cut to her. "Mistress Morrowen no longer clears parade flight." "No," she said. "I only know the difference between a dragon looking obedient and a dragon being balanced." The terrace went quiet. Rhaelor looked at the flight clerk. "Answer her question." The young clerk swallowed. "Formation image was marked stable." "That was not the question," Rhaelor said. The clerk's fingers trembled over the sheet. "Command sound response was marked stable. Left balance resonance was listed as advisory." Adelaide closed her eyes once. Advisory. A word men used when they wanted warning to sound optional. Who downgraded left balance to advisory? Rhaelor asked. Dervan stepped forward. "I did, under parade authority. Left balance logs are meant to guide battle turns, not prevent a ceremonial rise." Adelaide opened her eyes. "Ask why Mereth's left side went silent exactly where the turn would pull." Dervan's voice cooled. "Partial silence, not failure. Partial silence, under cap pressure, is the horn asking for room. It is the horn remembering repair. It is the horn remembering how not to fall." Rhaelor's eyes moved to Adelaide's scar beneath her ear. She saw him see it. She hated that the old damage still knew the shape of his attention. Years ago, when Mereth's distress call had shattered through the clinic, Rhaelor had been close enough to take the full sound into his skull. Adelaide had stepped between him and the scream because she knew how royal men died when dragon panic entered bone. Half her hearing had gone with that decision. Tonight, he remembered, she would not let memory carry authority for him. "Do not look at my scar for proof," she said quietly. "Look at the turn sheet." The words struck him in front of everyone. He accepted them. "Good. Bring the turn sheet," he said. The flight clerk produced a narrow slate from beneath the route map. It showed the parade path: terrace rise, royal pass, banner dip, second turn, tower descent. The ridge arc had been scratched out in red. In its place, a shallow hook curved left beneath the gold balcony where the kingdom would watch. Rhaelor stared at it. Why was the ridge arc removed? Dervan answered calmly. "To reduce strain." Adelaide looked at the slate. "No, the ridge arc would have exposed strain before the crowd did." A few captains shifted. Dervan gave them a careful smile. "Mistress Morrowen sees danger in every adjustment because her craft rewards delay. My craft rewards dragons staying alive. Your craft grounds war beasts while enemies count our caution. Your command decorates fracture and calls it strength." The words landed too sharply for court comfort. Rhaelor lifted one hand before Dervan could reply. "Did command sound replace balance testing in the clearance record?" The High Horn scribe turned another page. "Command sound response accepted in place of left balance resonance for ceremonial second turn." Adelaide felt the air leave the room, not because it surprised her, because now the sentence had a royal voice. Dervan bowed his head. "Accepted, not hidden. It was efficient command judgment." Efficient, Adelaide repeated. That is a clean word for skipping the part where the dragon gets to answer. Merith made a low sound, not the warning pattern. A single pressure note beneath the cap. The chain crews tightened their grips. Rhaelor took one step toward the dragon, then stopped before Adelaide had to warn him. That restraint did not forgive his first step, but it prevented the next harm. Was Adelaide's left balance warning reviewed before approval? He asked. The flight clerk shook his head. No review seal. Why? Dervan's voice stayed even. Because she had already been removed from parade clearance. Her notes were no longer controlling. Adelaide laughed once, soft and cold. You removed my authority, then treated the warning as unemployed. The line hit the captains harder than any horn echo. Rhaelor looked at her. Pain again. Late again. Not enough. Bring the flight path clearance, he said. Dervan did not object. Adelaide disliked that most of all. The clearance arrived on a brass-backed slate, stamped with Terrace Command wax and polished for ceremony. The High-Horn scribe read slowly. Flight path clearance. Second turn approved by command geometry. Ridge arc removed. Command sound accepted. Left. Balance resonance not required for ceremonial pass. Rhaelor's hand closed on the table edge. The scribe lowered his voice. Final clearance notation. He swallowed. Second turn approved without left. Balance resonance. Flight path clearance. Second turn approved without left balance resonance. Dervan did not deny the second turn had been approved without left balance resonance. He denied that approval had been reckless. The flight path clearance lay on the bronze table, its polished surface catching moonfire from the terrace. Second turn approved without left balance resonance. The words did not roar like dragons. They waited like a blade, placed flat between civilized hands. Dervan bowed his head, controlled and grave. The ridge arc was removed to reduce strain, Majesty. A shorter ceremonial route limits exposure. It does not create danger. Adelaide stood beneath the clinic arch where she had been dismissed, the empty place on her finger colder than the night air. Ask when the route changed. Rhaelor did not look at her scar this time. He looked at the turn sheet. When was the ridge arc removed? He asked. The flight clerk turned a page with unsteady fingers. Fourth bell, before moonrise. Rhaelor's eyes narrowed. Was Merith's left warning logged before that? Dervan answered before the clerk could. Partial warning, not confirmed failure. That was not my question, Rhaelor said. The clerk swallowed. Yes, Majesty. Partial left silence logged at third bell. Adelaide's breath left her slowly. Third bell, then fourth bell. Warning first. Route change after. Dervan spread both hands. Exactly. The warning appeared, and command reduced the route to protect the beast from unnecessary wind. Mistress Morrowen is mistaking simplification for concealment. Ask whether they reduced strain, Adelaide said, or reduced evidence. The terrace went quiet. A bronze male in the first flight shifted his capped head, chain rings scraping stone. The sound ran under everyone's skin. Dervan turned toward the captains. This is why command cannot be ruled by clinic panic. Every adjustment becomes accusation. Every route change becomes conspiracy. Public morale required a clean, visible pass. My craft does not panic because a route changes, Adelaide said. It asks what the route avoids. Rhaelor faced the clerk. Who ordered the route changed? The young man looked at Dervan. Again, Dervan's face did not move. I did. Under parade command. Was Adelaide consulted? No, Dervan said. She had been removed from clearance authority. Adelaide smiled without warmth. Convenient. My warning was useful enough to shorten the route, not useful enough to stop the launch. Rhaelor's hand closed on the edge of the table. She saw the motion. She did not mistake it for repair. Was the warning downgraded before or after the route was shortened? He asked. The High-Horn scribe checked the slate. After. A stir moved through the captains. Dervan lifted his voice, steady as a drum. Because route revision resolved the concern. Once the ridge arc was removed, the left balance note became advisory for ceremony. Adelaide looked toward Merath. A warning does not become smaller because you move the road away from the place that would have heard it. Dervan's jaw tightened. The ridge arc is a combat route. The ridge arc is where Crosswind tells the truth before the crowd pays for your silence. The words hit hard enough that one of the chain crews looked away. Rhaelor turned to the terrace map. Did the revised route avoid the only place Crosswind would expose imbalance? No one answered quickly. That was answer enough. Speak, he said. The flight clerk whispered. Yes, Majesty. The ridge arc is the only section where left horn imbalance becomes audible before the second turn. Dervan said, Audible does not mean dangerous. Adelaide's voice sharpened. In a horn, audible is the mercy before dangerous. Rhaelor looked at her then, and for a heartbeat the old memory tried to rise between them again. Adelaide on a clinic stool beside Merath's sleeping head, Rhaelor standing close enough to brush her shoulder, the two of them listening for one clean balance note after 3 nights without rest. She let him remember. She would not let him hide there. You trusted Dervan to make the route beautiful, she said. You did not ask whether beautiful still meant balanced. The blow landed in front of everyone. He accepted it. Good. Was the route changed for safety or for appearance? Rhaelor asked. Dervan's eyes flashed for the first time. Then control returned. Both can serve the crown, Majesty. A public war signal must show order. If the kingdom sees dragons struggling through unnecessary wind, morale fractures before enemies ever strike. And if the kingdom sees dragons fall under gold? Adelaide asked. Dervan went silent. Only for 1 beat. But enough. Rhaelor turned to the High Horn scribe. Bring the route revision sheet. Dervan did not object. Again, Adelaide hated that calm. Objection meant fear. Calm meant the next explanation was already waiting. The route revision sheet arrived rolled inside a red tube marked with parade command wax. It smelled faintly of heated brass and lamp oil. The High Horn scribe unrolled it beside the turn sheet. He read the first line. Original route. Terrace rise. Ridge arc. Royal pass. Second turn. Tower descent. He read the second. Revised route. Terrace rise. Royal pass. Shortened second turn. Tower descent. Rhaelor's voice was low. Time of revision? 4th bell. Reason? The scribe hesitated. Dervan said, Efficiency. Read the written reason, Rhaelor said. The scribe swallowed. Public formation clarity. Reduced wind exposure. Avoid unnecessary resonance delay. Adelaide closed her eyes once. There it was. Not a confession. A shape. Rhaelor heard it too. Resonance delay. Dervan inclined his head. Testing delay, Majesty. Not danger. The parade had to proceed before moonrise. Adelaide opened her eyes. Ask what happened at 3rd bell. Rhaelor did. What happened at 3rd bell? The High Horn scribe turned to the attached warning slip. His face paled slightly. Left side warning entered at 3rd bell, he read. Merath lower channel reduced under cap pressure. Ridge arc recommended before clearance. The terrace held still. Adelaide did not move. Rhaelor did not speak. Dervan only said, recommended. Not required. The scribe lowered the sheet. Route revision sheet. Ridge arc removed after left side warning. The timing did not make Dervan confess. It made him more careful. A route changed after a warning could still be called caution by a man who knew how to place military language over medical danger. The ridge arc was gone. The second turn remained. Merath stood under her gold cap with one eye half closed and one horn holding pressure it had no room to release. Dervan bowed to Rhaelor. The warning appeared, Majesty. The route was shortened. That is command response, not concealment. Adelaide stood beneath the clinic arch, listening with the side of the world that still belonged to her. The other side came dim and muffled, as if some part of the terrace were speaking through stone. "Ask what was changed on the horns after the route was changed," she said. Dervan's head turned. "The horns were not changed. The caps were polished for presentation. Polish does not alter resonance, nor does it prove danger." "No," Adelaide said, "but cut horn does." The terrace went still. Rhaelor looked at her. "Cut horn?" Adelaide did not look away from Mereth. "A cap cannot sit smooth over swollen fracture. If the gold line looks perfect, either the horn was whole, or someone made it look whole." Dervan's voice hardened by one careful degree. "No battlemaster cuts living horn for vanity." "I did not say vanity." "Then say what you mean." She finally looked at him. "I mean, someone wanted the dragons beautiful before they were balanced." Rhaelor's hand closed over the route revision sheet. "Open the cap, fit custody," he said. Dervan did not move. "Majesty, battle cap fitting belongs to parade armory, not clinic review." "The horns belong to the dragons," Adelaide said. "Not your armory." The words struck the chain crews first. Men who spent their lives near dragon mouths knew the difference between equipment and flesh. Rhaelor's chaser stayed on Dervan. "Open it." A bronze case was brought from the fitting cart beside the terrace wall. It held cap straps, anchor screws, resin seals, and thin curved files used to smooth gold edges. Adelaide saw one file with pale dust caught near the teeth. Not gold dust, horn dust. Her stomach tightened. Rhaelor saw where she was looking. "That file," Dervan stepped in. "All fittings produce dust. Gold dust is yellow," Adelaide said. The high horn scribe lifted the file with silver tongs. Under moonlight, the dust gleamed bone white. Dervan gave a controlled sigh. "Outer horn ridges sometimes flake under cap pressure. It is common in older beasts. Not along a living nerve line," Adelaide said. Rhaelor's eyes went cold. "Was Mereth's cap fitted after filing?" The cap clerk looked as if he wanted the terrace stones to open. "Yes, Majesty." "What was filed?" The clerk swallowed. "Raised edge along lower left channel." Adelaide's breath stopped for one beat. Raised edge. That was what careless men called swelling, when they did not want to say injury. Dervan lifted his chin. "A minor ridge. If left rough, it could have torn the cap lining." Adelaide turned on him. "The cap lining should have been removed, not the horn." A low sound came from Mereth. Not warning, not scream. A tired pressure note. Deep enough to make the bronze table tremble. Rhaelor took one step toward her, then stopped. He looked to Adelaide. The room saw it. So did she. He had learned to pause before command became harm. Not enough, but something. "How do we inspect without splitting the channel?" he asked. Dervan's eyes narrowed. "Majesty, you cannot place a dismissed physician over a battle dragon during parade emergency." Adelaide laughed softly. "You dismissed my authority. The fracture did not." Rhaelor looked at the high horn scribe. "Can anyone else counter-resonate Mereth's lower channel?" The scribe did not answer quickly. Adelaide did. "No." Dervan seized it. "Convenient." "No," Adelaide said. "Documented. I repaired that channel after the winter siege. My tuning pattern is in the horn. If another hand removes the cap, she may panic against the pressure." Rhaelor's face tightened at the memory. He remembered Mereth shaking in the cradle. He remembered Adelaide's hands. He remembered what the court had later called clinic exposure. Adelaide saw memory rise in him and cut it down before it could cross the space between them. "Do not make tenderness useful now. Make the record safe." The words struck him visibly. He accepted them. "Adelaide Morrowen will guide inspection under horn. Safety necessity," he said. Dervan's mouth tightened. "Not reinstatement." Adelaide looked at Rhaelor. "Say it before he uses it." Rhaelor's jaw flexed. "Not reinstatement. Technical necessity." The old humiliation remained where he had left it. "Good. Let the room hear that truth too." Adelaide stepped toward Mereth with both hands open. The ash-blue dragon watched her through pain-heavy lids. Adelaide hummed once, low and uneven, the pattern her damaged hearing could still feel in bone. Mereth lowered her head. Not obedient. Relieved. Adelaide touched the cap without removing it. Loosen left anchor, half-turn. No more. The cap clerk obeyed with shaking fingers. A thin silver note escaped beneath the gold. Every repaired horn on the terrace answered once. One breath of warning, then silence. Adelaide nodded. Now lift. The gold cap rose from Mereth's left horn. The terrace saw what beauty had covered. A crescent section of living horn had been shaved flat above the lower channel. Resin filled the cut. Gold dust had been brushed into it to make the wound shine ceremonial under moonfire. A captain whispered, "Gods." Dervan spoke immediately. "Cosmetic leveling. Superficial." Adelaide's voice came quiet and terrible. "That is not surface horn. That is balance tissue." Rhaelor stared at the exposed cut. For the first time that night, command had no clean word ready. The high horn scribe bent over the inspection slate, face pale. "Cap. Fit internal note," he read. "Lower left channel section, reduced to receive ornamental battle cap." Mereth shuddered beneath Adelaide's hand. The scribe looked up. Damaged horn section cut before parade fitting. The terrace did not panic when Marath's cap came off. That was the most frightening part. Soldiers were trained to fear collapse, blood, fire, open, screaming. They were not trained to fear a dragon standing too still beneath moonlight, while a piece of her living balance had been shaved flat and painted beautiful. Adelaide kept one palm against Mereth's lower horn channel, feeling the pressure tremble under her skin. Not through sound, through bone. The left side of the world was still half-dulled for her, but some warnings did not need ears. Dervan stepped closer. "Superficial leveling can look severe under clinic light." Adelaide did not look at him. "Then put your hand here, and say that again." He did not move. A few captains noticed. Rhaelor noticed too. His face had gone colder than anger, colder than guilt. The kind of cold that came when a king discovered the law had been speaking neatly while flesh had been paying for it. "Can Mereth fly?" he asked. Adelaide's laugh was quiet and empty. "She should not have been asked to stand capped." Dervan lifted his chin. "Answer the king directly." Adelaide turned then. "No. She cannot fly the second turn. She cannot fly the royal pass. She cannot carry command sound until the cut is unloaded and the lower channel is stabilized." The high horn scribe wrote quickly. Dervan's mouth tightened. "One dragon does not condemn the flight." Mereth made another low note beneath Adelaide's hand. This time, the bronze males answered from the first row. Not the full warning pattern. A single, thin pressure tone, muffled under gold. Adelaide closed her eyes once. There it was. The consequence waiting beneath spectacle. Rhaelor looked toward the first flight line. "Remove the caps." Dervan stepped between him and the terrace crews. "Majesty, not without inspection order. If every cap is removed in public, the kingdom will think the royal flight is broken. If every cap stays on," Adelaide said, "the dragons may be." Dervan turned to her. "You are escalating one damaged horn into a kingdom-wide crisis." "No," she said. "I am refusing to let you call a crisis, one damaged horn at a time." A chain crewman near the bronze males lowered his eyes. He had heard enough. Rhaelor's voice cut through the terrace. "First flight caps will be loosened." Dervan bowed, smooth and hard. "Loosened under whose authority?" Silence. The question was a trap, because everyone in the room knew what Rhaelor had done. He had dismissed the one person whose authority could make the order safe. Adelaide removed her hand from Merath's horn. The old dragon shivered. Rhaelor saw it and took one step toward them. Adelaide lifted 2 fingers. He stopped. Good. Let him learn that wanting to help did not erase the damage of having silenced the helper. "You want my hands back because the horns have made refusal dangerous," she said. The words struck him in public. He did not deny them. Dervan seized the opening. Mistress Morrowen's expertise is useful under emergency supervision. That does not restore her parade command. Useful, Adelaide repeated. The word was small. The wound behind it was not. She looked at the dragons lined in gold, at the captains who had laughed softly when Dervan called her caution contagious, at the king who had reduced her craft to a delay before every beast on the terrace remembered her warning. I will stabilize Mereth enough that she does not suffer for your pride, she said. After that, I will not treat another royal dragon until every ornamental battle cap is removed, every exposed horn is independently examined, and every cut, anchor, polish, and pressure fitting is entered into the medical record. Dervan's eyes sharpened. That is refusal of service during military emergency. No, Adelaide said. That is the first honest treatment order spoken tonight. Rhaelor looked at her. The memory was there again. Mereth, young and shaking. Adelaide's hands bloody from resin and dust. His own body spared the full force of a distress call because she stepped into it. He did not speak that memory. Good. It had no right to rescue him. Instead, he faced the scribes. Enter Mistress Morrowen's condition. Adelaide's head turned slowly. Mistress Morrowen? The title landed with too little, too late dignity. Rhaelor heard the failure in it. His jaw flexed. Horn physician. Adelaide Morrowen's condition. Still not restoration, but no longer erasure. Dervan's voice came hard. A dismissed physician cannot set conditions for royal beasts. Adelaide stepped away from Mereth. The dragon's head followed her hand for one aching inch. Then let your royal command soothe her, Adelaide said. No one moved. Mereth's pressure. Tone deepened. Rhaelor's throat worked once. Adelaide. She hated that her name still knew the shape of him. She hated more that she had once wanted that voice to find her in rooms where no one else did. Do not ask me to save the parade you trusted over my work, she said. Ask the record what must be done. The high-horn scribe looked at the exposed cut, then at the capped first flight. His face had gone pale. If Mereth's lower channel was reduced for cap fit, the others may carry similar pressure. Dervan snapped. May. Adelaide nodded. Exactly. May. That is why you examine before you fly. Rhaelor turned to the chain crews. No dragon launches. Der Fun went still. The terrace did too. Rhaelor did not look at Adelaide when he said it. That mattered. He was not offering her romance. He was accepting consequence. Until cap inspection begins? The high-horn scribe asked. Until cap inspection is complete, Rhaelor said. A roar rose from the parade grounds below, not from dragons, but from the assembled kingdom beginning to understand that the war display had stopped. Dervan's control returned quickly. Then let the record also show that Horn Physician Morrowen's refusal has grounded the royal flight. Adelaide reached for her silver clinic ring on the table. For one dangerous heartbeat, Rhaelor looked as if he wanted to move first. He did not. She took the ring, closed her fingers around it, and did not put it on. Let the record show. I will not wear the clinic while the clinic is treated as decoration for command. Then she walked away from the bronze table. Behind her, one gold cap in the first flight line began to hum. Then another, then 6. The high-horn scribe bent over the resonance slate, his face draining. Capped pressure response, he read. Multiple first, flight horns, showing concealed channel strain. The first flight line hummed like a locked door under pressure. 6 gold-capped dragons stood beneath Crownspire's moon terraces, their horns carrying a sound too low for the crowd below, but clear enough for every trained hand on the flight deck. Concealed channel strain. Not collapse. Not yet. A warning buried under metal, discipline, and the beautiful lie of parade readiness. Adelaide heard only half of it. She felt the rest in her teeth. The high-horn scribe looked from the resonant slate to Rhaelor. Majesty, if multiple capped horns are showing strain, Battle Command should withdraw from the cap line until inspection assigns cause, Dervan answered before Rhaelor could. Battle Command cannot withdraw during royal emergency. Horn physicians advise. Command secures. Adelaide stood with her silver clinic ring closed in her fist. Command secured the caps over the injuries. Unproven, Dervan said. Then remove your hands from the proof. The terrace stilled. Rhaelor looked at Dervan, then at the capped dragons, then at Adelaide's closed fist. The clinic ring was hers and not hers now. Authority made small enough to hold but not restored enough to wear. He understood that. Too late. Battle Command withdraws from the cap line, he said. Dervan's face hardened. Majesty, that undermines military order before the entire kingdom. No, Rhaelor said. It prevents military order from handling evidence it may have damaged. The words cost him. Not enough to forgive him, enough to make the captains look at Dervan instead of Adelaide. Dervan bowed with controlled offense. Then who leads inspection? A dismissed physician who refuses the clinic ring. Adelaide's mouth curved without warmth. You object to my refusal because it is the first thing tonight you cannot cap. Rhaelor turned to the High Horn scribe. Open battle cap custody. All first. Flight fitting trays, anchor logs, polish files, resin seals, and cap pressure notes. Dervan stepped forward. Custody belongs to the armory. Dragons do not, Adelaide said. Rhaelor did not look away from Dervan. Open it. The first cap tray arrived, carried by two armory boys, who looked too young to understand why their hands shook. Inside lay gold anchor screws, crescent clamps, resin brushes, and 6 narrow files. 3 had yellow gold dust. 3 held pale residue near the teeth. Adelaide did not touch them. Not yet. Separate horn dust from metal dust, she said. Dervan lifted a brow. Issuing orders again? No. Preventing you from calling bone decoration. Rhaelor looked to the scribe. Do it. The scribe set 2 black bowls beneath the lantern light. Gold dust shimmered warm. Horn dust glowed dull white, almost grey. A chain crewman whispered. That much from fitting? Dervan's voice sharpened. Older horns shed. Adelaide looked toward the bronze male nearest Merath. Not in crescent cuts matching cap anchor shape. Rhaelor heard the certainty and hated it. She could tell. Not because he doubted her, because certainty kept arriving after he had silenced the person carrying it. Which horns were filed? He asked. The armory boy stared at the tray. Dervan spoke smoothly. Minor leveling was performed where gold contact required flush seating. Names, Rhaelor said. The boy swallowed. Merath, Vosrin, Calor, Dravik. The Eastern bronze pair. All 6. The same 6 Adelaide's warning had touched. The terrace seemed to draw one breath and hold it. Dervan did not let it become accusation. All 6 were old repair horns. Old repair horns carry irregular ridges. Ceremonial caps require uniform seating so command sound does not scatter. Adelaide's voice went low. Command sound scattering is less dangerous than balance tissue being shaved. Dervan turned to Rhaelor. Majesty, she assumes every adjustment is injury because her craft sees dragons as patients before weapons. They are patients before they are weapons, Adelaide said. The sentence landed in the open air like something almost forbidden. Rhaelor looked at the line of dragons. Weapons. War beasts. Crown property. All words he had used without hearing the way they made pain easier to command. Enter that, he said. The scribe blinked. Majesty, enter it into the inspection law. A royal dragon under horn strain is a patient before it is a weapon. Adelaide looked at him then, only once. The old tenderness tried to move. She shut the door before it crossed her face. Law written after harm is not the same as trust before it, she said. Rhaelor bowed his head barely. I know. Not apology. Acceptance of the wound is still open. The High Horn scribe opened the cap custody book. There are fitting notes attached. Dervan's fingers moved once, against his battle sash. Adelaide saw it. So did Rhaelor. Read them, Rhaelor said. The scribe read. Mereth, lower left, raised edge reduced. Vosrin, anterior channel leveled for gold alignment. Calor, old repair ridge smoothed. Dravek, lower channel trimmed to prevent cap lift. Eastern bronze pair, anchor beds adjusted. Adelaide felt every phrase like a file against her own bone. Raised edge, leveled, smoothed, trimmed, adjusted. A whole vocabulary built to keep the word cut out of the room. Were clinic clearance notes attached? Rhaelor asked. The scribe turned a page. No clinic clearance attached, Dervan said. Because parade armory can fit ceremonial caps without clinic approval. Adelaide looked at Rhaelor. That is the law that hurt them. Rhaelor's face hardened. Not after tonight. Dervan's voice cooled. You would rewrite Armory Command mid-crisis because a physician dislikes military language. No, Rhaelor said. Because military language has been used to touch living Horn without medical clearance. The terrace heard it. Adelaide did too. Still not enough. But it was repair with teeth. Rhaelor faced the scribe. Until formal hearing, Horn physician Adelaide Morrowen holds emergency veto over cap removal, cap fitting, and resonance handling for all strained dragons. Dervan went still. Adelaide did not put on the ring. Emergency veto is not restoration, she said. Rhaelor met her eyes. No. It is the authority needed to keep them alive while the record catches up. She hated how much that answer almost mattered. A second tray arrived from the rear flight line, then a third. The scribe sorted notes with growing dread. Majesty. He whispered. There are duplicate fitting entries. Dervan's face smoothed. Too quickly. Adelaide stepped closer. Duplicate how? The scribe lifted 2 slips. One filed under cap alignment, he said. One filed under rejected clinic hold. Rhaelor's eyes went dark. Read the rejected hold. The scribe obeyed. Adelaide Morrowen recommended grounding, pending full resonance review. The second slip trembled in his hand. Armory override. Entered after physician dismissal. Battlecap custody record. Clinic hold overridden after Adelaide Morrowen's dismissal. The override slip did not make Adelaide reach for her clinic ring. It made her open her hand around it. Silver rested against her palm, cold and small, while 6 dragons hummed beneath gold caps and battle command stood around them with the clean faces of men who had learned to file harm under useful words. Clinic hold overridden after Adelaide Morrowen's dismissal. Rhaelor looked at the slip as if it had cut him somewhere the crown could not cover. Dervan stepped forward before silence became verdict. A dismissed hold cannot bind parade command. Once Mistress Morrowen was relieved, her pending recommendations became advisory. Adelaide looked at him. You dismissed the physician, then declared the warning unemployed. A command structure cannot remain hostage to one woman's caution. No, she said. Tonight, it only made dragons hostage to your image. The first flight line answered with another low hum. Not loud. Worse. Contained. Rhaelor turned to the high-horn scribe. How many clinic holds were overridden after her dismissal? The scribe searched the custody stack. His face drained further with every page. Mereth, Vosrin, Calor, Dravek, both Eastern bronze males. All 6. Rhaelor said. Dervan's voice remained calm. All 6 required ceremonial presentation. All 6 were old repair horns prone to false caution marks. Adelaide stepped toward the bronze table. Every captain watched her. She placed the silver clinic ring beside the override slip. Not on her finger. Beside the record. I will not wear authority like jewelry while command treats it as removable. The words cut through the terrace, harder than the horn hum. Rhaelor's eyes lifted to her. Not pleading. Not yet. What do you require? He asked. Dervan exhaled sharply. Majesty, this is still royal command. Adelaide did not look at him. No dragon is cleared by command image again. Every ornamental battle cap comes off under counter-resonance. Every exposed horn is examined by 2 independent horn physicians and 1 sound scribe, not appointed by battle command. Every cut, file mark, anchor bed, resin seal, pressure point, and missing resonance slip is dated before any beast is called ready, a captain muttered. That grounds the entire parade. Yes, Adelaide said. The simplicity of it unsettled them more than anger would have. Rhaelor looked at the dragons, then at the waiting army beyond the terrace gates, then at the city below, where thousands had gathered to see strength rise under moonfire. He had chosen spectacle once. The terrace waited to see if he would choose it again. Dervan placed the choice in polished language. If the king allows this, the enemy courts will hear that Crownspire's war beasts cannot lift without a physician's permission. Adelaide turned to him then. Better that than watching them fall because a battlemaster feared permission. A low murmur moved through the chain crews. They stood closest to the dragons. They understood falling. Rhaelor's voice came measured and public. Enter Horn Physician Adelaide Morrowen's conditions into emergency flight law. Adelaide's mouth tightened. Do not make my conditions sound like your gift. Rhaelor accepted the strike. Then enter. Adelaide Morrowen claims emergency horn authority under living balance necessity. The Crown recognizes the claim for this hearing. Recognizes, not grants. That mattered. She hated that he had learned the distinction only after damaging it. But it mattered. The High Horn scribe wrote. Dervan's composure thinned. This will fracture command. No, Adelaide said. It will show where command was already fractured. She lifted the first override slip. Read the time. The scribe obeyed. Dismissal entered at moonfall bell. The override? 7 minutes after. The terrace went still. 7 minutes. Not enough time for new examination. Enough time to use her removal as a door. Dervan spoke immediately. Parade scheduling required rapid consolidation. Adelaide lifted another slip. Vosrin. Override entered 9 minutes after dismissal. The scribe read. Kalawr. 12 minutes. Drave. 14. The numbers gathered around Dervan, like quiet teeth. Still not confession. Still not full motive. But Sequence had begun speaking in a language even captains understood. Rhaelor looked at the first flight dragons. Begin cap removal. Dervan's eyes flashed. Majesty. Battle command will stand outside horn radius. No. The word escaped before he polished it. Everyone heard. Adelaide looked at him. There is the first honest sound you have made tonight. Dervan recovered. I mean only that command oversight is required for dragon stability. Dragon stability is what you bypassed. Rhaelor gestured to the guards. Battle command outside horn radius. Now. The captains hesitated, then obeyed. Dervan stepped back with them, but his gaze remained on Adelaide's hand, as if he wanted to remove the ring from her skin before she ever wore it again. She did not put it on. Not yet. She approached Vosrin, a black-scaled male whose right horn had once split in winter thunder. His gold cap gleamed perfectly. Too perfectly. Counter. Resonance, she said. A sound scribe struck a low bronze fork. Adelaide hummed under it, feeling the note through bone more than hearing. Vosrin lowered his head until his horn touched the padded brace. Left anchor first? The cap clerk whispered. No, Adelaide said. Pressure releases opposite the last cut. Lower channel, half turn. Wait for the horn to answer. The clerk obeyed. A thin, silver sound leaked beneath the cap. Then a second note. Not the warning pattern. A memory. The terrace lights trembled. The resonant dragon horns did not speak like people. They held sound the way mountains held thunder. When old pressure opened, old flights woke inside them. Wind, command, injury, dates burned into living channel. The high horn scribe looked sharply at the resonance slate. What is it? Rhaelor asked. The scribe's hand shook. The horn is carrying archived battle echoes. Dervan's face went still. Too still. Adelaide kept her palm steady on Vosrin's horn. Do not translate yet. Rhaelor looked at her. Why? Because once one horn opens, the others may answer. If you want the truth, Majesty, you will hear all of it in formation. Dervan stepped forward despite the guards. Archived echoes are unstable under examination. They are not legal record. Adelaide looked over her shoulder. They are dragon record. That is older than your legality. The 6 capped dragons began to hum together. One by one, silver rings formed above their horns, not bright enough for spectacle, but precise, layered, and cold. The high-horn scribe lowered his voice. Resonance archive opening. The slate filled with the first unread line. Forced deployment echoes detected. The first archived sound was not a roar. It was a date, not spoken in words, but struck through 6 resonant horns at once. 3 low tones for winter month, 2 sharp rises for siege week, a left-side silence for damaged channel. The high-horn scribe bent over the slate, translating sound into record while every captain on Crownspire's terrace watched the war beasts become their own witnesses. Winter siege flight, he read. Vosrin deployed under storm pressure. Old repair channel active. Gold cap fitted over anterior split. Dervan's voice came smooth and cold. Battle echoes are impressions, not lawful testimony. Adelaide kept her palm on Vosrin's horn. No. Impressions fade. Horn channels repeat conditions. Another dragon answered. Calor's bronze horn released a silver ring that showed no image. Only sound, command drum, hard right pull, cap pressure, wing correction, pain swallowed before formation broke. The scribe's voice shook. Calor, Eastern Ridge Patrol, deployed with capped lower channel strain, date marked before spring thaw. Rhaelor looked at Dervan. Who cleared the flight? Dervan bowed. Battle Command cleared many flights in war years, Majesty. Readiness decisions cannot be judged by parade panic. Adelaide looked at the gold caps stacked beside the inspection table. This is not panic. This is what the dragons remembered while men polished the record. Merith lowered her head until the exposed cut in her horn caught moonlight. Then her horn sounded. Not the warning pattern from the parade. Older, wilder, a distress call, uncontrolled and vast, the kind that could break bone inside the skull if it struck too close. Rhaelor's face went pale. He knew that sound. So did Adelaide. The right side of her world had gone dim beneath it. The high-horn scribe whispered. Merith. First royal horn fracture. Distress call redirected. Clinic exposure note attached. Adelaide's fingers tightened. Rhaelor turned to her. The whole terrace seemed to vanish for one breath. No captains, no Dervan, no gold caps. Only a younger king with blood at his lip and a dragon screaming through shattered horn, while Adelaide stepped between him and the sound. Rhaelor's voice was rough. You took the call meant for me. Adelaide did not let him make the memory intimate. The record called it clinic exposure. Pain crossed his face. She let it. The scribe read the attached note. Original condition. Adelaide Morrowen suffered permanent right-side hearing loss while shielding Dragon King Rhaelor Caradane from uncontrolled horn distress. Corrected entry. Clinic exposure during repair. The terrace went silent. Dervan spoke before silence could turn against him. A correction made to preserve royal morale after an unstable incident. Rhaelor's eyes did not leave the record. Whose correction? The scribe checked the seal. Battle Command Review, authorized by Battlemaster Dervan Corrick. Dervan lifted his chin. The kingdom could not know its king survived because a horn physician took sound in his place. Adelaide looked at him then, finally. No. The kingdom could not know because men like you needed care to look weaker than command. The words landed like a blade made of sound. The 6 dragons answered together. This time the resonance rings stacked over the terrace in cold silver layers. Dates. flight conditions, cap pressure, cut channels, forced deployment orders, each echo attached to a battle command mark. Each mark tied to Dervan's clearance. The high horn scribe read until his voice nearly failed. Warflight under cracked lower channel. Forced deployment, battlemaster clearance. Parade drill under capped pressure. Forced deployment. Battlemaster clearance. Eastern bronze pair. Anchor beds cut. Resonance test omitted. Forced deployment. Battlemaster clearance. Dervan's calm finally thinned. I preserved a kingdom's image of strength. Rhaelor turned on him. You preserved an image by spending living horns. Dragons are war beasts. They are patience before weapons, Rhaelor said. The line returned to the terrace stronger now because law stood behind it. He faced the captains, scribes, chain crews, and the thousands murmuring below. Battlemaster Dervan Corrick is removed from all horn, cap, and flight authority pending trial. Every clearance he signed is suspended. Every battle cap in Crownspire comes off under medical counter-resonance. Dervan stared. You would ground the royal fleet before enemy courts? I would rather show them grounded truth than flying lies. That cost him more than pride. Adelaide heard it. She did not forgive him with it, but she marked it. Rhaelor turned to the high horn scribe. Enter new law. No dragon horn may be capped, cut, polished, or pressure, fitted without horn physician clearance. No command sound may replace balance resonance. No ceremonial image overrides crosswind testing. Any horn physician may ground a royal dragon without battle command approval. The scribe wrote. Rhaelor looked at Adelaide's closed hand. And Crownspire Horn Clinic will no longer answer to battle command. Its chief physician will hold independent flight safety authority. Dervan laughed once, bitter. You give her your war, Adelaide answered before Rhaelor could. No. He returns the part of it that should never have belonged to command. She opened her hand around the silver ring. Everyone watched. She did not put it on. Not yet. Correct the record first, she said. My hearing loss. My dismissed warnings. Every overridden hold. Every dragon cut for cap fit. Every physician whose caution was reduced to delay. Rhaelor bowed his head before the terrace. Not to romance. Not to pity. To the authority he had publicly broken. Enter all of it, he said, and enter this. I chose parade strength over Adelaide Morrowen's expertise. I let command make care look weak, because spectacle was easier to defend than invisible safety. The scribe wrote every word. Only then did Adelaide slide the clinic ring onto her finger. The resonant dragon horns answered, not with a crown song, not with victory, but with one clean balance note. It moved through the terrace, into the city, over the grounded dragons, and into every soldier who had come to watch strength rise. The note did not praise her. It cleared space for truth. Hours later, when the caps lay tagged and the dragons rested under open horn, Rhaelor found Adelaide beside Marath's cradle. He stopped an arm's length away. What does repair look like tomorrow? He asked. She looked at him, the king she had saved, the man who had dismissed her, the ruler who had finally chosen living safety over shining command. Tomorrow, she said, you defend this law when your generals call it humiliation. And after that, you learn to hear no before the horns have to scream it. His mouth tightened with pain. And if I come to the clinic? Adelaide rested one hand on Merath's steadied horn. Then you come as a man who knows my work is not tenderness. It is authority. Rhaelor bowed once. This time, not to the dragon, to her. The final record dried in silver resonance ink. Crownspire Horn Clinic made independent. Battle caps subject to medical clearance. Forced deployments entered under Dervan Corrick's name. Adelaide Morrowen, horn physician, restored by law before love, and free to choose who was allowed near the sound she had survived.